There is a pattern that repeats across every single woman in business that are ridiculously successful. And I've seen this with my mentors, with people that I know, even in books, but it all comes down to one very simple thing. And it's always the same. It's the habits that they don't overlook. And once you get really good at these, you naturally start falling into the same category as them. We are back. Hello, welcome back to the Power of Personal Branding and Manifestation podcast. It's me, your host, Malika, as always. I'm so glad to have you here. If you're new, then welcome. Hello. If you are not, then welcome back. We are cranking up the heat. We are cranking up everything, okay? That's the vibe over here. And so I thought, let's literally chat about that, about the habits that makes you so ridiculously successful. Before we get into this episode, if you are not already subscribed to the show, make sure to do that right now so you never miss on every single episode, every single Tuesday. So listen, go on your hug or walk, go grab your matcha, go grab your drink, whatever, and let's chat. It's also getting super sunny here in Montreal, so I'm really happy about that. I have to say that one of the biggest difference is the principle of asking yourself, what would this multi-millionaire version of me be doing? Whatever the goal is that you want as normal, like what would she be doing? And literally asking that every single day, because now every single time that you are asking that question, it literally forces you, like you kind of have no way other than to really stretch yourself and not just go after the goal, but go after the person that gets the goal. And that sounds so simple, but truly, like, it honestly makes the biggest difference, because sometimes you kind of realize, oh my God, let's say you're after having the kind of personal brand that all of your clients binge and buy, and all of your premium clients are so freaking excited every single time that they get content from you, and that literally gets them to buy because that's what you're after. You're like, okay, I want premium clients that are literally obsessed with my personal brand. Okay, what would this version of me be doing that has that? And sometimes you realize, maybe I'm not talking that much in my videos. Maybe I'm not showing up in the way that is the most impactful, and maybe like it needs some adjustment. Because whatever we normalize, like that's up to us. Like that's in our power, that's in our control to literally normalize whatever we want and then get it. Right? Like manifestation 101. We all know this. And I say that for the most part, whatever is going to be familiar to you is going to feel easier to get or to have, and that comes with repetition. Like whatever is like your repetition, that becomes your normal, right? And that sounds so simple, like, yeah, duh, we know this. The thing I've been asking myself recently, I've been like, okay, multimillionaire Malika, what is she doing in her day? Like, how is she making decisions? How is she prioritizing what she spends her time on? Like, how is she making shit more efficient? I know, as a matter of fact, I am not the only one who does this. I've seen this across my mentors, other people that talk about this online, and it's so simple. Like, it sounds so stupidly simple, but it does actually forces you to get out of your way of doing things and actually take the action, not just from the goal that you're after, but actually the person that is able to have that goal and hold it and get it. Let's say you've decided, okay, this year I'm going to reach my first 6-figure year, 7-figure year, whatever the case may be, and also deciding on what is the meaning behind that and having such like a deep meaning behind it. This is honestly another habit that truly stands out, is to have such a meaning behind a kind of person that can have these things, that can hold these things, what it means on literally like an identity level, and being like so crystal clear on that. These goes hand in hand together. I've never seen someone who is normalizing something and there's not a meaning behind it. There is always a meaning behind it, and specifically to what it means about the person that you're becoming, and like what it means about like you and what you're making it mean about yourself. And I don't mean it in a way of, oh my God, like once I hit this goal, I'm going to feel so like happy and successful. Not in that way. In the way of like, what does it mean about you, about your level of discipline, about your level of commitment, about your audacity? What does it mean about your courage, about your presence? More like on that level. Another habit that truly stands out has to be the way that you are seeking out where that version of you lives, and specifically seeking out whatever is scaring you. I have never seen a single highly successful woman who is waiting for the fear to hit her in the face. Like, no, like she's out there seeking out whatever feels uncomfortable, whatever is scaring her, whatever is like, she's not out here waiting for the fear to hit her in the face and hit this kind of like block. She's seeking it out so that she's like, she can claim that fear and she can like overcome it, and she can be like, oh my God, actually this is not as big of a deal as I thought. That it's talking face to camera because you're not used to doing that. It's building a new signature offer that you know is so much more aligned with the direction that you're going with your business. It means like letting go of certain clients or whatever the case might be, right? And I think there's definitely this false narrative of every time you're aligned, it's going to feel so good. Every single time that you are aligned, it will not always feel great, but that does not mean that you are not aligned. Let's say, for example, when I'm doing my Pilates workout, I'm throwing in some weight. When I'm doing my abs workout, it does not feel great. It does not feel great. I feel like I want to throw up, but I know that that definitely aligns with who I'm becoming, and like I want to feel hot in that bitch. And so I'm like, I know that this does not feel good, but one day I will be doing these abs workout with that weight and I will not feel like throwing up. Definitely the same that applies to all of these things, right? And so when I think of like actively seeking that shit out, you are killing it. Like you are killing it every time you do that. Something else is that these women are so shameless about their success and their wins. And I'm telling you, this concept of being humble was invented by the people who were preying on other people's downfall. Like, I swear to God, being humble is for freaking losers. I literally want every single woman around me to be so freaking loud with their wins, to literally shout it from the mountain and be so freaking happy about it and be so glad and literally scream it and be like so freaking like that's what I genuinely want, and that inevitably empowers other people around you. Honestly, the goal should be that like you are around so many women who like are so shameless with their success that like you literally start questioning what the fuck, like how are they getting this? Like I want to get that too, so I'm going to figure it out and like I'm going to get what they're getting. Like that's the goal. That's the goal. Honestly, taking every single win and not hiding it. Now, if you haven't seen the episode on the $40 million lesson, we have actually touched on this with a guest that we've had on the podcast, which she literally made $40 million and she was very hesitant to telling her family. I genuinely want other women around me who aren't humble, who aren't toning themselves down, who aren't out here trying to play cool, playing like it's not a big deal, playing like hell no. Like, because every single time that you do claim that win, you're literally affirming that you are grateful. And guess what? When you are grateful, then you get to have more of that. But if you are constantly hiding it away, guess what's going to happen? It's going to feel harder and harder to hold your win the bigger they get, and then you're not going to want them. And so this is definitely something that is super overlooked. You can literally hold your win like a badge of honor, including even your story, your journey, being so unapologetic with your opinions, your values, like truly standing so strong in them. Like that's when you are truly operating from this different set of habits that inevitably pulls you up. That also gives permission to other people to do the same, and everyone just feels so much better. Like you get to be in this community that like literally celebrate you so much, and like everyone feel like, oh my God, I have the permission to take that much space. I have the permission to be that loud. Like I have permission to take more space than I'm taking right now. And like, oh my God, like that actually gets me more of what I want, not less. Next up is never letting perfectionism get in the way. And listen, like I don't think I know a single woman who is not a perfectionist, that like they have their own business or they like do any sort of impact on other people or like a service or whatever. Like I don't think I know anyone who is not, who doesn't like associate themselves with like being a perfectionist. But the goal should not really be to be a perfectionist. It should be to be effective. And, you know, if your perfectionism is getting in the way, another really big one has to be treating yourself as the biggest asset that you have. And now a lot of people, I think that they're doing this, but they're not actually doing this. This is honestly the same as an athlete that is training for a competition and you want to play in the big league, right? But then you cannot always be training and running all of these laps and like spinning around the field and everything and never resting properly, because you might hurt yourself, you might break an ankle, you might wake up the next day and then you have a competition and you're doing super shit at it because you didn't rest properly at all. And this is applied the same for like every single woman that are in business. And so you need to almost treat yourself like an athlete, right? Like going in the field and training and doing all these things, like they are not making their rest as a non-negotiable or something that's wasting their time, because they know that like they cannot outperform everybody if they are not treating themselves as this biggest asset and as something that is required. Every single person knows this, okay? Your time is your most valuable asset. Like everyone talks about this shit, like so quotey, like, oh my God, your time is your most valuable asset, okay? Everyone knows, but like no one actually understands it on like a psychological level. And once you can understand it on a psychological level, it becomes way more important to you, because now you're like, oh, it's clocking to me. Like it's clocking to me. You are the reference point to how people treat you, to how valuable they make your time and how they treat your time. Two, simultaneously, the better that you are at time management and the better you get at like prioritizing whatever has the biggest impact, then you simultaneously create a ripple effect around you, because you again are the reference point to how people look up to you, to how valuable your time is. I've kept some of the best stuff for the end, okay? And this one is by far the biggest pattern that I see repeat, and that I've also personally applied, and that I have been told making fast decision is a skill that very highly successful people have, because they understand that sitting on their decision will always cost them more than actually making the decision. Fast decision is a reflection of your sense of trust, your sense of self-trust. I think that like this is super common, like when you grow up, like you kind of have everybody around you being like, maybe you should think about it, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that and everything. And like over time, you almost like been trained to doubt yourself. The more you wait on your decision, the more you are training yourself not to trust yourself. And this is the biggest killer for anything that you want more of, or like having this super highly successful self-concept of yourself. I don't need to be wasting mental energy thinking about this. No, I'm going to right away make the decision. Bam, 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 all done. Don't need to think about it. Same for investment, same for when I got my car, same for anything. This is a skill that I swear to God, every single highly successful woman swears by. Like I swear you can Google this shit and like you will find it. It's definitely something that they've also used to recalibrate themselves, to have that new sense of this is normal, like this is how I operate and this is how I operate on the daily. This is by far one of the biggest patterns that I have seen multiple times that makes the biggest change. I like to think of this as three main categories in order to be able to measure this. And so number one is, how uncomfortable do you feel? Number two is this not your normal habit? And number three is it making you rethink your self-concept? Because every single time that you're hitting one of those three categories, then that automatically means that you are casting a vote for this other version of yourself that you want to operate at. The goal is to make every single habit that casts a vote for that person easy to do and rewarding to do. And then whatever habit does not cast a vote for that person, then the goal is to make that habit hard to do and unrewarding to do so. This is a super simple concept that you can actually find in the Atomic Habit books. If you haven't read that book, it's definitely a good read. And then looking at like whatever has to go and being so brutally honest with where you are falling short. Like I think like this is such a great aspect to have as a person, to be brutally honest with yourself about where you're falling short, where you need to adjust. And usually it's like the stuff that you already kind of know has to go or does not align or is not like reflective of someone who would have like a 6-7 figure business or who would have this amazing well-known personal brand or whatnot. Like you already know, like usually it's the stuff that you already know. Okay, for example, not staying up late scrolling on your phone and then waking up the next morning and you're like all like fucked up because you didn't get enough sleep. Like, you know, it's just stupid stuff like that like most of the time is like the stuff you already know you shouldn't be doing, that like don't align with that vision. Like, you know, these become like your non-negotiable of like, how am I making this unrewarding for me to do that? And sometimes it's honestly very simple stupid habits that have to go, but they make a huge change in the long run. Like I'd say we have all fallen to this one, which is, okay, you're going up on your Instagram or on your feed to post a piece of content, and then next thing you know, you get a notification, you go up, open your DMs, you're like reading through other stuff, then next thing you know, you're like scrolling on your phone for like 20 minutes or like an hour, and then you're like, oh fuck, like I did not post that piece of content that I was supposed to post, okay? And then you would have had time to like post like 3 more. So, you know, sometimes it's like these simple things, but like they become non-negotiable now of like, how can this not be a part of my, oh, it's okay to have, and like it's just no, like it's a non-negotiable that like this has to go, we're gonna replace it with something else. My favorite for this is, you know, having a system, for example, for creating your content so that you don't have to break your head every single time, because that's making it hard. You know, let's say this version of you who has this amazing well-known personal brand, then she would probably have a system for her content and she would not be breaking her head every single time, right? This is something that I definitely introduce my clients to. And so it's not like, you know, it's about like looking at like where you're falling short and being like super brutally honest and not like blaming yourself, but literally being like, I can like rise so much more than this. Like I'm so good. And so let me be even better. Like, and I don't know about you, but when I think of habits that shapes highly successful women, sometimes you automatically think of the things that you have to kind of like add in, but sometimes it's actually about the shit that you need to cut out. And then you kind of naturally fall into place and fall in alignment into this next category that you actually want to be in and that you want to claim for yourself. And so it's not always, I'd say, about adding stuff in, because I think adding stuff in feels more rewarding or like accomplishment like right off the bat, but sometimes it's actually about removing the stuff that like, you know, has to go, and you already know, like, you know, no one needs to tell you, like you already know. What I personally do is I write up a list after the end of each day on where I felt like what I did do well and what I could have done better, or where I was kind of like slacking, or where I didn't keep my focus. And that for me makes it unsatisfying, because if it's just like in my head and like I'm like, oh, I can kind of forget about it, right? But when I come down at each day and I actually have to write it down and I have to look at it and I kind of like, I have to take responsibility for it, then it becomes unsatisfying to me. And so I know that for me makes these habits fall out of alignment. And so that for me is what works. Like maybe it's not the same thing then than me. But that's just what I personally found that definitely helps me. And the other flip coin to that is making all of the other habits that are in alignment very satisfying and rewarding to do so. You're batching content and then you're pairing it with matcha, like something super simple, but you know, it's like boosting your mood, it's boosting your productivity, and you're like, hey, I got this. Like, this is so good. Every single time that you are showing up online and you are not censoring yourself, you are not filtering yourself, you are not scared of getting canceled to whatever the fuck you're going to say, you are actively thinking, this is making it so incredibly easy for all of my aligned and most amazing clients to find me on a regular basis. It's making it so easy. And so you see how like this is just making it so that you're naturally aligning with that version. And this is the pattern that repeats across so many women. Like I've mentioned before, like so many highly successful women, mentors of mine, people that I know, even in books, like I think that sometimes we think these habits have to be like super complicated, but sometimes like it's just like this very simple thing. Like it's just that's it. It's very simple. It's very plain and simple. There's no super complicated jump to the loop and hoop and whatever. No. It's actually the very simple things. And finally, the most overlooked but life-changing habit that shapes highly successful women is how they master their own self. And so meaning to be able to stay and live in your certainty, or let's say you don't get the result that you want or whatever, like not letting that ever affect your self-concept because you have mastered yourself. You have mastered being in that certainty, coming back to that high CO frequency, and because you know yourself so much that like now you're never in your own way, because you're like, okay, I know that like if this doesn't go according to plan, I start to kind of like have my doubts creeps in, but I know that I'm like that, so I'm going to like stay in my certainty. I'm going to instead remind me, okay, like every time this happens, after that, like it's fine, no, whatever, so like kind of like mastery of yourself and being able to stay in that certainty. I definitely think that like being in your certainty is such a big key aspect of this. You are the kind of person that other people look up to, and so that is why you're able to create wave in your industry, in your field, in what you are doing, and everyone literally wants to follow you. If you love this week's episode and you know that the people that are following you would absolutely love to hear about this, then take a screenshot, post it on your story, and tag me on Instagram. I'm at Malika Birbi. And as always, I will meet you back here next Tuesday. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, definitely do so. It's on all streaming platforms. Add it to your playlist and make sure that you are on the subscribe button, because I know that some people sometimes tune in and you can see the show, but you're not actually subscribed to the show. So make sure that you are and add it to your subscribe list. And as always, stay freaking amazing. Go freaking kill it. It is literally summer is coming, okay? So we're cranking up the heat. And so, yeah, okay, bye. Thanks so much for tuning in. And don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.